A lot of training's gone into this day. The day I wasn't sure would ever come, but it's definitely time. It's time to get it on. Hey guys, Ernie here and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Is there a best alcohol stove out there? I've done tests on all kinds of alcohol stoves, but they're always one against the other. And you never know how they're going to compare if they're in the exact same environment, same temperature water, same amount of all that stuff. I've always done one against the other, and it's time that we put them all up against each other. I currently have 11 different alcohol stoves. Some of them are very familiar, you'll recognize them. Some of them are ones that I've made myself. There are videos on how to make all of them that I'll be testing today, so check down below for links for those. The rules are very simple. We are going to use 1 ounce of heat out of the yellow bottle. We're going to try to be as exact as possible by using our scale to weigh out exactly 1 ounce of fluid, or at least if it's not exact 1 ounce, all of them should have the exact number of grams of alcohol in them. We're going to use 2 cups of water here at room temperature, probably 59 or 60 degrees right now here in my shop. We're going to start the timer when I first light any of the stoves. If they take a while to bloom, so be it. We'll just have to wait for it to bloom. It's all going to count as part of the overall time. This should be pretty interesting. I'm about to boil 22 cups of water. What's even more impressive is that you are actually considering watching me boil 22 cups of water. So let's meet each of our contenders, talk a little bit about what makes each individual stove unique, and we'll weigh it for you guys. We're gonna make this nice and quick. I have detailed videos on pretty much all of these, so just a couple of quick points. Let's look at the contenders. Okay, so contestant number 1 is the Trangia Spirit Burner. Some of the highlights are that it has an O-ring here at the top, so you can put alcohol and store it in there. You can just close it off, put this in your pack, and you've got alcohol stored. It also has a simmer ring right here, which allows you to control some of the flame. The weight is 111 grams or 3 7/8 ounces. Now the Trangia costs between $14 and $15 on Amazon, so let's see what kind of times we get with the Trangia Spirit Burner. Okay, let's get this party started. Trangia, light it up, turn it on, get this going. Let's see how long it takes. Okay, we're coming up on it here. I changed the view a little bit so y'all can see better. Okay, we have a boil, 212 at 817. We're gonna call that 817. Let's see how long it burns for. All right, really starting to lose steam here. I'm gonna call these when I don't think that the flame is any longer really viable. Even though it may still be flaming, it's not really going to be doing anything, and we are there. So we've got 11 minutes, 47 seconds total burn time for the Trangia. Next, we're gonna look at the Solo Stove. This is the Solo Stove burner. This is what I would consider to be an absolute copy of the Trangia. It's $20, so it's a little bit more expensive. The only other major difference is the type of O-ring. It actually has like a flat ring here, which keeps it. It also has a different jet pattern. I have a video specifically on these 2 stoves. You can check that out for exact details. The same highlights. It has a screw-on lid. It has the O-ring to contain alcohol inside, and it has this, which allows you to control the flame. We'll weigh this one. We've got 88 grams or 3 1/8 ounce. As I said, this costs $19.99 on Amazon. Let's see what kind of boil times we get. Okay, Solo Stove, 1 ounce of fuel. Light her up. Put this on. Turn that on. Let's see what we get. Okay, we're getting close here. 837. Let's see how long it burns for. I'm gonna call it right there, 11:44. It's got a little bit of flame, but 11:44 total burn on the Solo Stove. Okay, now we're moving on to a titanium version. This is the Evernew titanium alcohol stove. A little bit different. It has 2 rows of jets. It has these bottom jets and it has the top jets. Once it gets going, you can actually put the pot right on top and it'll kind of act as its own simmer ring. I really didn't realize that till somebody pointed it out. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, you are gonna have to use a pot stand, and we will use the same pot stand for all of these if needed. Highlights on this is it's absolutely super lightweight. We'll show you that here in a second. And the other highlight is that you can put that pot right on top and kind of have its own simmering action. Weight is an amazing 36 grams or 1 1/4 ounces. Major difference, this one costs $43, so quite a bit more expensive. You expect that with a titanium product, but how will it perform? Let's find out. Moving on, 1 ounce in the Evernew titanium stove. I'm gonna continue to use this as a pot stand. All I did was put like a little shim. I actually used the simmer ring for the Gnome Turbo, and we're gonna light it up. Here it is. this on, start it up. Let's see what we get. All right, we've got a boil at 648. Stop it right there. 648, let's see how long it burns for. We are losing steam. Oh, it is down. 7 minutes, 47 seconds, 7:47 total burn time. If you want a titanium stove, but you don't want to spend $43, you can look at this. This is from Boundless Voyage. This is just a basically kind of like a knockoff of the Evernew. I got in trouble by some of the people in the comments for calling it a knockoff, but it's a knockoff. And it has the same kind of patterns, two different jet patterns. It has the exact same markings inside. It has the same highlights. It's lightweight, and you can also put the pot on top as its own simmer ring. Let's weigh this one. We're looking at 44 grams or 1.5 ounce. So just a little bit heavier. Big difference. This is $18.99. That's a major, major change. It has a problem priming, and you'll see that here in a little bit. I have a possible solution and fix for that, which we'll discuss on a further video. I'm going to modify this to see if I can make it work better. But for now, let's see how it performs. I'm going to show you, this one takes a long time to prime. So I'll just jump in and let you guys know exactly how long it takes to prime. Light it up. Put this on here, start it up. Let's see how long it takes to prime. I'll let y'all know. Okay, just fully primed. 2 minutes, 10 seconds till full prime. Let's see how long it takes to boil. All right, it's caught up pretty well. We've got a boil at 8:11. 8:11 for a boil. Let's see how long it burns for. Only the top burners are going right now. We're about to call it. That's pretty much out. 10 minutes, 27 seconds, 10:27. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is by Lixada, which is a very common company now you can buy on Amazon or AliExpress. Kind of Trangia, kind of not. It does not have a simmer ring, but it does have the O-ring so you can store the fuel in here. This is made out of aluminum. I have tested this a few times. We're gonna give it a good test today. The benefits, I think, mainly are the lightweight and the fact that you can screw on the top. Let's weigh it. We got 26 grams or 7/8 of an ounce, so very, very lightweight. Believe it or not, this costs an amazing $3 on AliExpress. If you're willing to wait about 20 days for it to come in the post, you will get this for $3. Let's see how it does. Okay, this is the Lixada aluminum. Turn that on. Put this in. Start her up. Oops. And let's see what we get. All right, we have a boil at 8 minutes, 42 seconds, 8:42. Let's see how long it burns. I think it's getting close to dying. Let's see. All right, it is dying there. 12 minutes, 14 seconds. 12 minutes, 14 seconds on the Lixada. Continuing on with stoves that you can purchase. This is the Mini Bull Designs Elite Pro. Okay, you can buy this at Mini Bull Designs. It's a website. I'll leave a link down below. Very nice stove. It's very well made. It's got a fiberglass wicking here to act as a preheat wick. Highlights of this is that it does not need a pot stand. It has the preheat wick, which allows it to bloom much faster. And it's also very, very lightweight. So let's see exactly how lightweight. We've got 14 grams or 1/2 ounce. You're looking at that correctly. 14 grams, 1/2 ounce. It costs $20 and is handmade by Tinny, the owner of Mini Bull Designs. This is the first of 3 we'll look at from Mini Bull Designs. Let's see how it performs. So we've got one of our Mini Bull Designs here. We're gonna light the outside. We're going to go ahead and start the timer. Once it primes, we'll put it on. There it is. Turn this on. Should prime pretty quickly. All right, perfect. Now it's primed. There we go. We'll make sure it's centered. So let's see how long it takes to boil. Okay, very good time here. 2 cups of water. 6 minutes, 45 seconds, 6:45. That's our fastest boil yet. Let's see how long it goes for. All right, we're gonna call that out there, 7:55. So 7:55, it's producing a little bit of flame, like I said, but it's pretty much out, 7:55. The next Mini Bull design is the MBDC Elite. This is pretty similar to the other one, but it's a little bit smaller, so it'll produce a little bit of a narrower flame pattern. Highlights on this one is that, again, it requires no pot stand, which is really nice. It has the preheat wick, and it's also super lightweight. Let's check the weight on this one. An amazing 13 grams, again, showing at 1/2 ounce, but 13 grams, even lighter weight than the Elite Pro. This one costs $25, a little bit more expensive. I really don't know why it's a little more expensive. I imagine it's probably because it's harder to make, so maybe it's a little more expensive, but let's see how it performs. Now, just for y'all to know, I did add a little bit of alcohol to the wick. I did it on the last one as well, just in case y'all were wondering. I did add just a couple drops. Oh, crud. Turn this on. Here we go. Okay, we've got a boil at 6 minutes, 32 seconds, 6:32. Let's see how long she burns for. All right, guys, it just died, 8:24. 8:24 total burn time. So our third and final Mini Bull Designs stove is the Turbo Gnome. This is a very simple, very simple stove. Just a tube of aluminum. Ports here, this is what makes it the Turbo. They sell a Gnome without these ports. It doesn't burn quite as hot. It has a little lip there, and inside it's just a rolled piece of carbon felt. As basic as it gets. Also, for $10 more, you can get a very nice simmer ring that pops right on there and really limits the amount of flame that comes out the top. Highlights are the pure simplicity of this thing. It is bomb-proof. It's just a piece of aluminum that works very well. It's very efficient, super lightweight, and very small. Also, it only costs $10. Let's see how much it weighs. 12 grams or 3/8 of an ounce. We'll really stick to 12 grams. Pretty amazing. Like I said, 10 bucks. It looks a little bit misleading. This stove works really well. Let's check out the times. This one, we're just gonna light it. Start it. And let's see what we get. Okay, boil at 754. 754. Let's see how long she goes for. All right, it is essentially out. We're gonna call it 9:31. 9:31 for the Turbo Gnome. Essentially out at this point. And now the first of our 3 DIY stoves. This was made out of a $1 Walmart bottle that I found. It's aluminum, very simple. I have a detailed video on exactly how to make this stove. Some of the highlights is it's a larger footprint and it produces a very wide flame pattern, so it's good for bigger pots. You also do not need a pot stand. Let's see how much it weighs. We're looking at 50 grams or 1 3/4 ounces. Like I said, this was $1. Sometimes you can find these bottles at Walmart. You need to make sure that it's a water bottle, but it's not insulated, vacuum insulated, or it will not work. But if you can find one, you can make it for $1. Let's see how it works. Okay, we're gonna light this one up. This one will take a little while to bloom. So the size of it makes it a little harder for it to bloom. So just gonna give it a second here. Starting to bloom. All right, almost everything's bloomed. We're gonna put it on and see what we get. Just died, guys. It just died. I was watching it. It was actually 5 minutes, 55 seconds. Died at 5:55. Next, we'll look at the DIY cat can stove that, at least for me, started it all. Colorado Camper made this, I believe, many years ago. I have a video on how to make one. His is the original video and is very good. Very simple stove, super lightweight, very efficient. Always one of the best performing stoves. If I haven't already, I will be publishing a video showing you the difference between different heights between the top here of the carbon felt and the bottom of the pot. Nonetheless, this is the one we're going to be using today. Maybe that's a hint as to which one worked. Some of the highlights are just the absolute efficiency of this model. It's very easy to make. It's ultralight. You don't need a pot stand. Let's see how much it weighs. 28 grams or 1 ounce. I'd put the cost of this at about $3 if you're going to put in about $1 for the cat can, $1 for the tomato paste, and $1 for a piece of the carbon felt. $3, pretty good deal. Let's see how it works. Light her up. This one blooms very quickly. There it goes. Make sure that's nice and centered, and let's see what we get. I'm getting close here. 624, boil at 624. Let's see how long it goes for. All right, we're gonna call that out at 8 minutes. A little bit of flame coming out the side, but just out of some little ports, it's pretty much out. 8 minutes on the cat can stove. Last DIY stove is this Sprite can stove. That's what I call it. Again, I have a full review on how to make this, a detailed video on how to make your own. I don't know if they make these Sprite bottles anymore, but they still make Diet Coke bottles, and they still make Coke bottles very similar, so you can try to get those and make it out of the same type of bottle. It'll just be a little bit different. Highlights of the fact this is basically free. You can drink the Sprite or just borrow a can from somebody. You can usually find these things very easily. If you just look around, you'll find a nice free can. It's also very easy to make. You don't need a lot of tools. You don't need a pot stand. It's super lightweight. All are catching a theme here. 14 grams, 1/2 ounce. As I said, I'll consider this to be free. Let's see what our final contender does in the boil test. Okay, I didn't think this day would come, but this is the final one, the Sprite can. Here we go. We're gonna light it. Oh, it's lit. All right, I'm gonna turn this on. Just gotta wait for it to bloom. This blooms pretty quickly usually. You can hear it. There it goes. Bloomed very nicely. And let's see what we get. 7 minutes, 15 seconds, 7:15. Let's see how long she goes for. All right, guys, it is basically out. We're gonna call it 9 minutes, 16 seconds. 9 minutes, 16 seconds. We have a small flame, but it's pretty much out. First, I'm gonna put a little graph up here for you guys to review all of the results. The Trangia boiled water in 8 minutes, 17 seconds and burned for a total of 11:47. Solo Stove boiled in 8 minutes, 37 seconds and burned for a total of 11 minutes, 44 seconds. The Evernew Titanium boiled very quickly at 6 minutes, 48 seconds, but burned out pretty fast at 7:47. The Boundless Voyage, after taking quite a while to prime, actually got water to a boil in 8 minutes, 11 seconds and burned for 10 minutes, 27 seconds. The Lixada aluminum version boiled water in 8 minutes, 42 seconds and burned for 12 minutes, 14 seconds. The Mini Bowl Design Elite Pro actually was better than what I originally got with my first testing with it. It was much better. It boiled at 6 minutes, 45 seconds and burned for a total of 7:55. This is because of the size pot I used. I'll talk about that a little bit later. The MBDC Elite, which is in the Starbucks coffee can, boiled at 6:32, which was our fastest boil time, and burned for 8 minutes, 24 seconds. The Turbo Gnome from Mini Bowl Design boiled in 7 minutes, 54 seconds, and burned for 9 minutes, 31 seconds. The Walmart stove, which I made, which is not surprising, goes along with the testing I've had in the past. It's very inefficient. It only burned for 5 minutes, 55 seconds, and did not get 2 cups of water to a boil. It's the only one which did not achieve the boil. The Cat Can stove, which is a 1 1/4 inch distance between the bottom of the pot and the top of the carbon felt, got water to a boil in 6 minutes, 24 seconds, which is our new leader and was eventually our fastest. It burnt for 8 minutes total. Finally, the Sprite can was pretty fast. It boiled at 7 minutes, 15 seconds and burned for a total of 9 minutes and 16 seconds. So before we get too into it, let's just realize something. I'm not looking for a winner. I'm just looking at how these things generally work. 11 different stoves in as similar conditions as I can possibly put them with the same amount of fuel. How did they stack up against each other? Well, the results, we already discussed them. I know a lot of people are looking for alcohol stoves and they're wondering, what should I do? Should I get a production commercially available alcohol stove? Should I make my own? Should I buy one of these stoves like from Mini Bowl, which is basically a DIY but done very professionally and very well? The point of this video is to try to help people make a decision on what kind of stove they want to get. There are positives and there are negatives to each of these stoves. Most of these stoves have been discussed in detail on other videos on my channel. I'll leave them down below. This video was just about how do they stack up against each other. And yes, before anybody says anything, there are a lot of other stoves out there. Feel free to put them down below. I'm always looking for new things to test and purchase, but I know there's other ones out there. These just happen to be the ones that I own, so I put them all to the test. No way that I can own all the possible alcohol stoves out there. Now, I know people are gonna ask what my favorites are. Well, I'll give you kind of 3 different favorites. First is the purely commercially available, mass-produced type stoves. For a long time, I've always used the Trangia. And truthfully, the Evernew Titanium has taken over as my go-to. The only thing I don't like about the Evernew is that it doesn't fit into a lot of the things made for the Trangia, so that kind of limits it. That said, it burns very hot and boils water very quickly, and it cools off very quickly, which I really like. Although it's really hard to go wrong with the Trangia. Next, we'll look at the DIY stoves or DIY type stoves that you can buy commercially. Now, of course, I just looked at 3 of them from Mini Bowl Designs. I think they're excellently made. Tinny does a very good job. And I would get the MBDC Elite. It's the one made out of the Starbucks coffee can. It is excellent. It's super lightweight. I don't remember what it was, like 14 grams or something crazy like that. Very efficient. It has actually taken up residence inside of my ultralight cook kit, and it's going to be going out on the trail with me from now on. Last will be just the purely DIY stoves. Which of my stoves do I like the most? Well, I mean, it's the Cat Can stove. It always has been. It produces the most consistent results. Big picture wise though, what did we learn? We learned something very simple. Taking aluminum cans or cat cans or whatever it is, You can make a stove that is better than just about anything out there. If you get to the quality that Tinny puts out when he puts these things together for his Mini Bull design stoves, that's great, you can do that. You don't have to have that kind of precision to make extremely good stoves. In fact, the Cat Can stove was the fastest stove out of all 11, 6 minutes, 24 seconds to a boil. Tinny's MDBC Elite was very close at 6 minutes, 32 seconds. I would say that these stoves statistically are right up against each other. If you don't want to make one and purchase one, I think one of the Mini Bull designs are very good. If you got some tin snip and a cat that can eat some extra food, make yourself a Cat Can stove. Once again, I have to thank you all for watching water boil. In case you're wondering, yes, I have spent the last 2 hours watching water boil. And if you burn this much alcohol indoors like I do, guys, ventilate. I've got fans going. I don't have them on now because I'm filming, but during the process, I've got fans going, blowing all this extra carbon monoxide out because it can accumulate, and I burnt a lot inside. So be careful if you use these stoves indoors. We've talked about that on other videos. Make sure you're safe out there, guys. In general, if you use just a basic stove and you don't burn a lot inside, it's not going to create enough carbon monoxide to cause an issue. But when you're out here having a boil fest, I had to take some precautions to make sure that we cleared this thing out. I have all kinds of videos on stoves. I have an entire stove playlist, probably over 50 videos at this point. I'll leave a link down below to my stove playlist. Check it out. Do me a favor, guys, if you like a video like this, if you appreciate the work, because it takes a lot of work, I really would like if you guys give me a thumbs up down below. Help spread things across YouTube. Can make this video show up on more people's feeds. If you want to make sure you don't miss any videos, hit the subscription button. And if you want to be absolutely sure you never miss a video, hit that ding dong bell and you'll be the first to know. I've been planning this video for a long time. And next up, I have another ambitious video. I don't know when I'm going to get to it because it's going to be a total nightmare. I'm going to look at all the different wood stoves that I have, and it's like 10 of them, which means I'm going to have to process wood for each one of them and get them going. It's going to be kind of a nightmare. That might not be for another year or so after this, but I love doing these kinds of videos, putting them together, finding out what the results are, more than anything, hopefully showing you guys a little bit about these stoves so you're better informed when you're making a decision on what to buy. Appreciate you guys checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stay tuned for more videos soon.